Hello, my name is Carmen. I'm a Twitch VTuber and I'm also a book lover. I read horror, dark fiction, and mystery. As always, I'm open to suggestions, so please post your recommendations in the comments. This week, I focused on reading books for middle grade March. I saw this challenge posted on the channel Books and Jams. I will link that video in the description. I read two books for this challenge, and I have to say they were very different experiences. A few of the books that I have received as advanced reader copies lately have come to me through NetGalley as protected PDFs. The issue with the protected PDF is that I need the NetGalley app to read it, so I can't exactly read it on my Kindle or Kobo. I know there are videos and instructions on how to get around that, but I just don't want to spend the time figuring that out. I tried to read the PDF on my Books Palma, but the text was really tiny. I also have a Samsung tablet, but I don't like reading on my tablet because reading on the tablet is hard on my eyes. I read ebooks on an e-ink device for that reason. Given that I now have two books that are protected PDF format and probably more to come, I decided to find a bigger e-ink e-reader with the Android app capabilities. Also, I love any excuse to buy new shiny objects. It's a problem. I decided to buy the Books Note Air 5C 10.3-inch tablet. I bought that myself. I wasn't given that device through the vendor. I did a live unboxing on Twitch and I have been using that tablet this week. So far, it has served as my primary e reader. I've been able to download my Kindle app, my Kobo app, also the NetGalley e reader app. So that has been serving as my primary e reader this week. It is also color. So if I chose to read something like a manga or something that has color, I could do that as well. But primarily, I'm reading everything in black and white. I am seeing the benefit of the larger display because I work on computers all day and I have a significant astigmatism. At night, when I read, my eyes are tired. So I'm able to make this text larger, which makes it way easier for me to read. And plus, the bigger display, I can have the larger text and not be turning the page as much. I'm definitely seeing the benefits of this reader. One of the books that I did receive as a protected PDF was Fear Files. Hide and Seek by Christopher Edge. This book was provided by Candlewick Press through NetGalley. This is book one in a new series called Fear Files. This series will feature stories from what is called a dark hive, a database of strange stories. Think about Goosebumps or Creepypasta. So it's collections of stories. In this installment, Adam goes on a camping trip with his family and his friend Saul. Adam is going into middle school and he's wondering how this will affect his friendship with Saul. They're kind of getting on each other's nerves by now, and he's thinking, okay, maybe in middle school we kind of part ways. That's how we're going into this story. So the two friends go exploring around where they're camping, and they soon find an abandoned town where they begin to play hide and seek. With this, strange children start to appear, and they're playing hide and seek as well, and they're being chased by something. This book was fun visually. The pages look like files. They do have some smudges, stains. Some had articles paper clipped to them, or they had post-it notes attached with handwritten words. This book was very fun visually. What was lacking for me was the character development. There was only a brief introduction to Adam and an even more brief introduction to Saul. Most of the book was taken up with this hide and seek. While that did leave the book very action packed, I think that some of those chase scenes could have been spent with more background on the characters. I would have liked to have seen that. This book is only 160 pages, and some of those pages are taken up with photos and that mixed media. So this would be a very quick read for a middle grade reader. I think a middle grade reader would enjoy the visual aspect of it, but wouldn't learn a whole lot about the characters. So I think it This depends on that middle grader. Are they just kind of looking for a quick read with a lot of action, kind of an escape? I did give this 3 stars. Next, I read The Haunting of Old Splinter by Jack Mackay. This was sent to me by Penguin Young Readers Group through NetGalley. I read this on Kindle, and now that I have my new device, I read it on the Kindle app on the Books Note Air. I wasn't originally going to go with the prompts for middle grade March. I was just going for reading more middle grade books. Coincidentally, I found this book satisfies 2 prompts. One was to find a book that featured siblings, which this book has half siblings, Peter and Adrian. Second was to find a book with the main character being Black, Indigenous, or people of color. Adrian's father and his uncle are from Hong Kong, and so he is half English and half Asian. Peter and his brother Adrian are living on a dilapidated estate called the Old Splinter. They're living in a small cottage, but there is also a very large house on the property. Adrian's father, Peter's stepfather, is hired by their uncle to fix up the house. There are rumors that this house was owned by a magician who had a wishing claw that granted wishes to the owners. This is similar to the story of the monkey's paw. In fact, the author does mention taking inspiration from this story. There is also mention of the hand of glory, which is the hand of a hanged man that also grants wishes. Of course, the lessons of these stories were a hand magically grants wishes, but be careful what you wish for. Or yeah, you have all this money now, but you're not happy at all. I love this story. It had way more depth than Fear Files did. You got to know Peter and Adrian. You also got to know the family and how they became blended. You learn about Adrian's father and his life in Hong Kong. I do feel the main characters being a blended family is very relevant for today. Many times, middle grade books don't have blended families. They may have, the mother, father, happy marriage, maybe not. But, or they have like a step parent where the step parent is really bad. And so it's nice to see this blended family. The birth father that does show up in this family and that tension that arises from that situation. So it was refreshing to see the family dynamics be more modern. I love the horror, and of course, I have found a way to find horror in a middle grade book. The book had some really scary moments. That is something to keep in mind for a middle grader who might be interested in this book. If this middle grader is sensitive to some horror elements, it did have some horror elements in it. If they love that sort of thing, don't get scared by that. This would be perfect. I found this book highly enjoyable and I gave it 4 stars. I want to thank you so much for watching my review of Fear Files, Hide and Seek, and The Haunting of Old Splinter. In the coming week, I will be shifting to reading mysteries for March Mystery Madness. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe to be notified of my upcoming videos. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.